God tears down and does not build what is not His will. We must live according to God's will because God tears down and does not build anything that is not the will of God. God's will is God's purpose, plan, and design. Those who live according to the will God has planned and envisioned in this time period are those who achieved the greatest joy and hope. If you live as God, the Holy Spirit, and the Lord wants you to live, you'll gain joy that is beautiful, mysterious, and magnificent. The natural temple is beautiful, mysterious, and magnificent to anyone that looks at it. It is because it was built according to God's design, God's plan, and God's will. When God created the heavens, the earth, and all things, God created purposes, plans, and designs. That is, If you do not follow God's design, God's will cannot be fulfilled. You must live by checking, confirming, and managing your life based on the fundamental will of God. Always try to follow God's will and design without forgetting, and you have to keep making that path. Every work you will not collapse, and no matter who breaks it, it will be rebuilt and be beautiful, mysterious, and magnificent. Only when you live according to God's design, you can live a life where your body will shine and your spirit will not be lost. A person's method works well at first, but there are so many things that become impossible and get stuck along the way. The greatest lesson that the Ambition Masterpiece gives to Providence is that God let it collapse until it was made according to God's design. Sonsanim looked for and did things according to God's will. God and the Holy Spirit are with Sonsanim, who takes action according to God's will. God's will never fails. It is surely built by God. If you do things according to the slander, complaints, in your own thoughts, you cannot fulfill God's will. The purpose of our birth on this earth is to thank God for giving us the earth and nature and to live according to His will. You have received God's will, so you shouldn't just live comfortably by acting at your own convenience. We need to always learn from the Lord. There is only one person who brought the will of God. We will become the brides of love who take action on the Lord's word. We love you, Lord.